I never imagined the man I accidentally spilled coffee on, the man whose shirt I nervously dabbed clean in front of everyone, would turn out to be my billionaire boss. Ava Parker took a deep, shaky breath, tugging at the sleeves of her newly acquired Waitress uniform, a white shirt with tiny pearl buttons, and a simple black skirt that felt both alien and constricting. She'd fought so hard to get this job at one of New York City's most exclusive and glamorous restaurants, Bellevue, a chance to support her younger brother Josh, and finally begin a life free from financial anxiety. But the glittering chandeliers, marble floors, and the aroma of exotic spices made her stomach twist nervously. Her fingers trembled slightly as she approached her first table, heart thundering wildly. "Good evening." Ava smiled gently, her voice steady despite her racing pulse. "Welcome to Bellevue. I'm Ava. I'll be your server tonight. May I take your order?" The couple at the table barely glanced up, murmuring their selections dismissively. Ava swallowed, scribbled the orders down quickly, and turned away to hurry back toward the kitchen. Distracted by her nerves, her hurried footsteps led her straight into someone, a solid chest covered in a white, neatly pressed shirt. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." Ava gasped, horrified as she watched hot coffee from the tray she carried splatter across the man's crisp white shirt. Instantly dropping the tray onto the nearest table, she reached desperately for the napkins in her pocket, frantically dabbing at his chest. "Please forgive me, sir," she stammered, embarrassment burning her cheeks scarlet. "It's my first day. I didn't see you. I'm really sorry." The man stood frozen, a startled expression etched on his handsome face, his deep blue eyes widening slightly as they met Ava's anxious gaze. His presence radiated an unmistakable air of confidence and charisma, but Ava's panicked mind barely registered this amidst her desperate apologies. He lifted his hand gently, halting her movements. "Hey, it's all right," he said softly, his voice a velvety whisper laced with unexpected warmth and kindness, instantly calming her rapid heartbeat. "Accidents happen, right?" Ava finally lifted her gaze to fully meet his eyes, and for the first time she truly noticed him. Tall, strikingly attractive, with perfectly groomed dark hair, and the faintest smile playing on his lips. Despite the disaster she'd just created, his expression wasn't angry, just curious and mildly amused. "I'm Liam," he said, his eyes twinkling mischievously as he extended a friendly hand. "And you are?" "Ava," she responded softly, cheeks flushing again as their hands touched briefly. His palm felt warm, firm, and reassuring. "Liam," Ava repeated quietly, regaining some composure. She glanced at his stained shirt guiltily. "You're also working here, right? I mean, you look like staff. Let me help you clean up, please. At least I owe you that." A spark flickered in Liam's deep blue eyes as he hesitated slightly, but then nodded, amusement evident in his expression. "All right, Ava, lead the way." She guided him toward a quiet corner, away from the crowded dining area, feeling his strong, steady presence beside her. Her heart pounded uncontrollably, a sensation she wasn't accustomed to. What was it about this stranger that made her feel simultaneously nervous and intrigued? "So," Liam broke the silence, a playful tone in his voice, "you assumed I'm staff. Interesting. What gave it away?" She glanced quickly at him, smiling shyly, unaware of his true identity. "Well, your clothes match our uniforms, and you're standing around observing like you know the place. I just assumed." She paused nervously, biting her lip. "I'm sorry, did I make a mistake again?" Liam chuckled lightly, a deep, pleasant sound that warmed her chest. "Maybe, or maybe you're exactly right. Either way, you're forgiven." As Ava reached for fresh napkins and water, gently dabbing the stains off his shirt, she felt her embarrassment fading, replaced gradually by the electrifying awareness of their proximity. His subtle cologne was intoxicating, mingling softly with the scent of freshly brewed coffee. "You don't seem upset," Ava whispered curiously, glancing up through her lashes. "Most people wouldn't handle this accident so calmly." Liam watched her intently, his eyes softer now, more thoughtful. "Well, Ava," he leaned slightly toward her, voice low, confidential, "I believe a person's true nature is revealed in how they treat others, especially when no one important seems to be watching." Her heart fluttered at his closeness, at the unexpected depth of his words. She paused, looking up into his eyes, feeling a strange magnetic pull toward him. He was a mystery, a captivating puzzle that she wanted to solve. "That's profound," she whispered, surprised by the sudden intimacy of their interaction. Liam smiled warmly, clearly enjoying their exchange. "You're very observant. It's rare. I try," Ava replied softly, genuinely touched. Her eyes suddenly widened when she noticed a watch glittering discreetly beneath his sleeve. Expensive, luxurious, unusual for a restaurant employee. She felt a vague curiosity, but pushed it aside quickly, unwilling to seem intrusive. A sudden voice interrupted their moment. "Liam, everything okay here?" Ava turned abruptly toward the voice, instantly recognizing the restaurant manager, Mr. Henderson, who stood respectfully nearby, looking concerned and somewhat puzzled. "Everything's perfect," Liam replied smoothly, smiling reassuringly toward Mr. Henderson. Ava felt a flicker of confusion. How did the manager know him personally? Before she could question further, Liam glanced back at her, eyes warm. "Thank you, Ava. You've been wonderful. We'll talk again soon, okay?" Her heart raced, cheeks flushed again, as Liam calmly moved away, leaving her confused, fascinated, and undeniably attracted. "Do you know who that was?" a voice whispered behind her, suddenly, startling her. It was her colleague Emma, eyes wide with shock. "No," Ava answered softly, heartbeat erratic. "He said his name was Liam." Emma's eyes were huge with disbelief. "Liam Carter, Ava, the Liam Carter, our new owner and CEO, billionaire, renowned entrepreneur, and you just spilled coffee on him." Ava's blood ran cold, heart pounding harder now, panic flooding back. Her first day, and she'd humiliated herself in front of the very man who held her future in his hands. Worse still, she'd assumed he was merely a waiter, yet beneath the embarrassment, confusion, and panic, Ava felt a deep, inexplicable pull toward him. Who exactly was Liam Carter, and why had he pretended to be just another employee? As Ava stood frozen, overwhelmed with emotions, she realized one thing clearly. This unexpected meeting had just changed everything, forever. In a city full of masks, why did the billionaire choose to show his real self to me? Ava's heart still hadn't recovered from the revelation. Liam Carter, her billionaire, boss, owner of Bellevue, the heir to Carter Enterprises, was the same man she'd spilled coffee on, mistaken for a waiter, and unintentionally humiliated in front of the entire restaurant. It was like something out of a twisted fairy tale, and Ava couldn't decide if she was living in a dream or a nightmare. She spent the rest of her first shift in a daze, mechanically taking orders, serving plates, and nervously glancing at the entrance every time someone entered, half expecting Liam to appear again and confront her. But he never did. By the time her shift ended, the restaurant had quieted, bathed in soft golden lights that danced elegantly across marble tables. Ava stood near the bar, removing her apron, and feeling the exhaustion of the night sink deeply into her bones. "You survived your first day," Emma's cheerful voice startled her from behind. Ava managed a small smile, though her eyes betrayed anxiety. "Barely," she admitted softly. "I can't believe I messed up so badly." Emma leaned against the counter, giving Ava an affectionate nudge. "Well, if it makes you feel better, you handled Liam Carter better than anyone else could have. Trust me, I've heard stories. He never lets people that close." Ava frowned slightly, feeling warmth rising to her cheeks. "I don't understand. He was just normal, nice even." Emma chuckled knowingly, eyes twinkling with playful curiosity. Exactly. Liam Carter isn't known for casual chats and forgiving accidents. The staff say he's professional but distant, polite but guarded. Yet somehow, you managed to break through his shell on your first day. Ava felt butterflies stir restlessly in her stomach. Maybe it was just luck, or maybe he just felt sorry for me. No, Emma teased, lightly nudging her again. There was something else in the way he looked at you. Everyone noticed. Ava's cheeks flared hotly again, and she quickly changed the subject, though her pulse betrayed her intrigue. I should get going. My brother's waiting up. Emma waved goodbye as Ava slipped away, mind racing. Had Liam really looked at her differently? She'd felt something in those intense blue eyes, something raw, honest, and impossibly genuine. But why would a billionaire feel anything special for someone like her? Someone struggling just to keep her head above water. Outside, the crisp night air brushed softly against Ava's flushed cheeks as she walked quickly toward the subway station. She wrapped her jacket tighter around herself, thoughts swirling chaotically. She'd nearly reached the station when she noticed a sleek black car parked near the curb, its windows tinted darkly. The rear door opened quietly, and Liam Carter stepped out gracefully, a faint captivating smile on his lips. Her heartbeat spiked immediately, suddenly aware of how small and insignificant she felt beside him. Yet his presence drew her in, impossible to ignore. Good evening again, Ava. His voice was soft, warm, familiar. Mr. Carter, she stammered, uncertain of how to address him now. But he quickly interrupted, a gentle amusement in his tone. Just Liam, remember? He smiled reassuringly, stepping closer. I don't think formalities suit us anymore, given that you've already introduced yourself quite memorably. His teasing made Ava blush, but she felt herself relax slightly. He seemed genuinely interested in easing her nervousness, and that surprised her. What are you doing here, Liam? She asked softly. Curious and hesitant, he looked around the quiet street, his gaze finally settling gently upon her again. Honestly, I wanted to make sure you were all right. You seemed shaken earlier. I feel responsible. Ava laughed softly, disbelief evident in her tone. You're apologizing to me after I spilled coffee on you and treated you like a waiter. He shrugged gracefully, stepping closer, the street lamp illuminating his face, accentuating his handsome features. To be fair, I was pretending, and frankly, I rather enjoyed being treated like a normal person. It doesn't happen often. Something in his tone touched Ava deeply, resonating within her heart. She sensed genuine loneliness behind his charm, a man hidden beneath layers of wealth, power, and expectations. I'm sorry, Ava whispered sincerely, looking into his deep eyes. It must be exhausting, being surrounded by people who only see you for your money. He tilted his head slightly, studying her with a depth she couldn't quite interpret. It can be. But today was different. You saw me, the real me, without even knowing who I was. That's rare, and it meant something. His confession sent shivers of warmth cascading down Ava's spine, and a silence settled between them, charged with unspoken attraction. She felt herself pulled toward him, drawn to this mysterious, fascinating man, who seemed to see her in a way no one ever had. Liam spoke gently, breaking the tension. Let me drive you home, Ava. Please, consider it an apology for not telling you who I was earlier. Her instinct was to refuse, yet the sincerity in his voice, the quiet intensity in his eyes, made her nod softly. Okay, thank you. His face lit up, genuinely pleased, as he opened the car door for her with effortless grace. Inside, luxurious leather enveloped her, warmth and comfort radiating around them. Sitting beside him felt surreal, intimate, and deeply thrilling. As they drove, Ava felt the silence stretch gently, neither uncomfortable nor awkward. She stole glances at him, noticing the thoughtful way he watched the city lights blur past. Do you regret it? Ava asked softly,
unable to stop herself, showing me your real self today. He turned to her, his gaze deep, vulnerable, and honest. Not even for a second. Their eyes held for a moment longer, the intensity burning between them. Ava felt her pulse quicken, heat pooling in her chest, her breath hitching softly. At the tenderness evident in Liam's eyes, she forced herself to look away, overwhelmed by the intensity of her own emotions. She couldn't afford to fall for someone so completely out of her world. Finally, the car slowed and stopped gently in front of Ava's modest apartment building. Liam glanced out, noticing the humble surroundings, but his expression never changed, filled only with respect and kindness. "Thank you again, Liam," Ava whispered sincerely. "For everything." "It was my pleasure," he replied warmly, his eyes lingering on hers, sending her heart racing once again. "I hope to see you soon, Ava." Stepping from the car, Ava paused briefly. Turning to glance back at him, he remained watching her, eyes gentle, yet intense, a silent promise flickering in his gaze. As Liam's car disappeared down the street, Ava stood breathless, heart pounding fiercely. She'd never felt such powerful attraction, such genuine emotion for anyone before. Yet beneath the thrill, she felt something else, a quiet fear. Liam Carter was everything. She wasn't wealthy, influential, powerful. Could she risk losing herself to someone whose world seemed impossibly distant from her own? But as she turned to climb the stairs to her apartment, her heart whispered softly, drowning out all doubts. Liam Carter wasn't simply a billionaire. He was the man who'd shown her something deeper, something real, and something impossible to ignore. And Ava realized with stunning clarity that her heart was already dangerously close to falling for Liam Carter, a man whose presence promised to change her world forever. "The man I was falling for stood at the center of my world, and in one moment, everything changed." The next morning arrived too quickly for Ava, who had barely slept at all. Liam Carter occupied every restless thought, haunting her with memories of gentle smiles, secretive glances, and the quiet intensity of his presence. Her heart pounded at the memory of his eyes, those deep soulful eyes that seemed to see right through her, uncovering parts of herself she'd forgotten existed. Stepping into Bellevue, she immediately sensed the atmosphere crackling with an unusual energy. The staff buzzed around nervously, polishing tables, adjusting tablecloths, whispering discreetly. Ava found Emma near the bar, looking unusually tense. "What's going on?" Ava asked softly, glancing around anxiously. Emma leaned closer, eyes wide with excitement and tension. "Liam Carter is making his first official appearance today as owner and CEO. He rarely shows himself publicly like this, and everyone's nervous. It's a big deal." Ava's heart slammed against her ribcage. Liam would be here again, and this time as himself, the real Liam Carter, billionaire owner. Her stomach twisted with anxiety, excitement, and confusion, a chaotic storm within her chest. Emma tilted her head slightly, examining Ava with curiosity. "You okay? You look nervous." Ava forced a smile, hiding her trembling fingers. "I just didn't sleep well. I'll be fine." Emma raised a knowing eyebrow, but said nothing more. As a hush suddenly fell over the restaurant, Ava turned toward the entrance, her breath instantly catching. There he was, Liam Carter, stepping gracefully into the room, with an easy confidence that demanded attention. Dressed in a dark tailored suit, his crisp white shirt beneath it perfect, without any hint of yesterday's coffee disaster. His presence radiated power and authority, yet his gaze was gentle, subtly scanning the room until it found her. For one brief second, the entire restaurant faded away. His eyes softened immediately, a small smile forming when their eyes met. Ava's heart thudded wildly. He'd remembered her. He saw her. But the moment passed as the manager, Mr. Henderson, moved forward quickly, greeting Liam respectfully, and guiding him toward the small platform set up for an announcement. Ava watched, heart pounding, as Liam took his place, commanding everyone's attention effortlessly. "Good morning, everyone," Liam's deep voice resonated gently through the room, calm yet authoritative. I appreciate your hard work, dedication, and the heart you put into making Bellevue the extraordinary place it is. Ava felt warmth spread through her chest, admiring the sincerity behind his words, and yet tension built rapidly in her veins. Would he mention their meeting? Would he reveal the embarrassing truth of her mistake publicly? Liam continued, voice clear and powerful. But I didn't come here merely to introduce myself. Yesterday, I learned something valuable, a reminder of humility, sincerity, and compassion from someone entirely new to our team. Ava's breathing froze. Emma glanced sideways at her, eyes wide. Ava felt faint. I learned that true character isn't revealed by status, wealth, or power, but by how we treat others. Liam continued. His gaze shifted slowly, deliberately, meeting Ava's eyes again. His voice softened, filled with unmistakable admiration. Someone here reminded me of that, and I'm deeply grateful. Every head turned toward Ava, curiosity rippling through the room. Heat rushed to her cheeks, embarrassment mixing dangerously with pride and shock. Why had he singled her out? She was just a waitress, an ordinary girl who'd made a mistake. Yet, Liam's gaze didn't waver, holding hers, silently assuring her that his admiration was genuine. Ava felt exposed, vulnerable, yet profoundly seen. When Liam stepped down, conversation resumed, louder, with whispers and curious glances thrown her way. Her heart raced as she desperately turned to escape toward the kitchens, needing a moment to breathe, to regain control. She'd barely reached the hallway when a familiar voice softly halted her escape. Ava, wait. She stopped abruptly, heart thundering wildly, aware of Liam's powerful yet gentle presence close behind her. She turned slowly, pulse pounding, feeling dizzy at his proximity. I'm sorry if I embarrassed you. Liam spoke quietly, sincerity evident in his tone. Stepping closer, voice gentle, private. I needed them to know how remarkable you are. She shook her head slightly, confused and overwhelmed, her voice barely audible. But I'm not remarkable. I'm just ordinary. Liam stepped even closer, standing mere inches from her now. Ava felt her breath hitch, heart stuttering, as he leaned slightly toward her, voice gentle, intimate. You're anything but ordinary, Ava. From the moment you treated me as an equal, as just another person, I saw something in you that made it impossible to look away. She lifted her eyes hesitantly, heart trembling, every nerve aware of the closeness of his warmth, the intoxicating scent of his cologne, the deep emotion in his eyes. But why me? She whispered shakily. You could have anyone. Why even notice someone like me? Liam's eyes softened further, pain mixing gently with the tenderness there. Because I'm tired of people who see my money, my status, my last name. I'm tired of being surrounded by masks and illusions. His voice deepened, sincere and achingly honest. When you spilled that coffee, Ava, you looked at me and saw a person, not a billionaire. You gave me something real, something genuine. She stared, breathless at the vulnerability, the longing reflected clearly in his eyes. Without thinking, her fingers reached gently, trembling slightly, as they touched his hand softly, a gesture of quiet comfort and understanding. Liam responded instantly, fingers entwining warmly with hers, strong and reassuring, making her heartbeat thunder. This isn't simple, Ava admitted softly, voice breaking slightly, realizing how much he was affecting her. You're Liam Carter, and I'm just Ava, he interrupted gently, a small smile forming again, eyes glowing with warmth. And that's precisely why you're so special. They stood in silence, the hallway quiet, hidden from the world, lost in a bubble of their own creation. Ava's heart raced uncontrollably, emotions tangled and intense, drawn to him with a force she couldn't resist. I want to know you, Ava, Liam whispered finally, voice earnest and genuine, eyes holding hers with deep longing. The real you, not as a billionaire, not as your boss, but as Liam. Her pulse quickened, breath hitching softly at the intimacy of his words. She hesitated, only for a heartbeat, her resolve breaking as her heart finally gave in to the attraction, the connection she'd felt since the first moment. I want to know you too, Ava admitted breathlessly, her voice a mere whisper, eyes filled with genuine emotion. The real you. A brilliant smile illuminated Liam's face, making Ava's heart leap joyfully. Then let's start there, just us, without titles, without pretenses. As Liam gently released her hand, promising softly to speak soon, Ava watched him leave, with her heart pounding wildly in her chest. She was no longer merely intrigued, no longer just fascinated. Ava was falling deeply and dangerously, unable to deny the powerful attraction, the emotional pull that Liam Carter inspired within her. But as she watched him disappear, reality sank in swiftly. Liam was a billionaire, her boss, a man from an entirely different world, and despite her heart screaming for him, Ava knew their journey had only just begun. Could love survive in a world where everything seemed set against them? Yet deep within her heart, Ava already knew she was willing to risk it all for Liam Carter, the man who'd shown her that real love was worth every sacrifice. When his world collided with mine, the line between reality and fantasy blurred, until all I knew was him. Days passed in a soft, intoxicating blur, each shift at Bellevue filled with lingering anticipation and quiet excitement. Liam Carter had become a regular presence at the restaurant, always discreetly, finding ways to be near Ava without drawing unwanted attention. Their interactions, brief and hidden from prying eyes, became treasured moments. Each glance exchanged felt deeper, every smile warmer, every accidental touch electrifying. One afternoon, Ava carefully arranged fresh roses in delicate crystal vases, losing herself in thoughts of Liam. When she felt the air shift subtly behind her, turning slowly, her heart fluttered wildly as Liam appeared beside her, a soft, playful smile teasing his lips. You have a gift for making everything beautiful, Liam murmured gently, eyes roaming slowly over the flowers, before settling warmly on her. Even something as simple as flowers becomes extraordinary in your hands. Heat rushed to Ava's cheeks at his praise, but she held his gaze, feeling courageous under the gentleness in his expression. Maybe it's not the flowers, she whispered shyly, voice trembling slightly. Maybe you just see beauty in places no one else notices. His smile widened tenderly, eyes softening with admiration as he stepped closer, his voice low and intimate. Only because I learned from the best. Ava's heart raced dangerously as he reached out, fingertips brushing softly against hers. A thrilling shock jolted through her body at the gentle touch, the intensity of his nearness sending warmth flooding through her chest. Liam, she breathed softly, uncertainty lacing her voice. Aren't you worried about what others might think? He shook his head slightly, his gaze unwavering, deeply sincere. Let them think what they want. I've spent too long worrying about opinions. You make me feel real, Ava, and I can't lose that. His words sank deep, stirring powerful emotions within her. She looked down, smiling shyly, heart pounding so loud she was sure he could hear it. Yet despite her worries, Ava knew in her heart that she didn't want him to leave. She craved his presence, needed his closeness. As the days turned into weeks, Liam found subtle yet meaningful ways to show his affection. Fresh flowers appeared at her workstation each morning, along with handwritten notes bearing his elegant script. Just thinking of you, or you make each day brighter. Ava's heart melted at his gentle, unassuming gestures, each one drawing her deeper into him. One evening, after the dinner rush had faded, Liam gently approached Ava as she prepared to leave. His gaze was tender, filled with anticipation. I want to show you something special, he said quietly, eyes hopeful. Come with me. Without hesitation, Ava nodded softly, trusting him implicitly. His eyes shone brightly as he guided her out into the evening air, the city glowing warmly beneath a canopy of stars. Ava felt lightheaded from excitement and nerves, heart fluttering wildly as Liam's fingers gently intertwined with hers, sending sparks racing through her veins. They arrived shortly afterward at an elegant rooftop terrace overlooking Manhattan, secluded yet breathtakingly beautiful. Fairy lights twinkled softly overhead, illuminating plush chairs and a table set intimately for two, a single candle flickering gently at its center. "You planned all this?" Ava asked breathlessly, overwhelmed by his thoughtfulness. Liam's eyes danced affectionately, voice warm with tenderness. "For you, anything." He guided her gently to the table, their hands never quite parting. As they sat, Liam's eyes traced softly over Ava's features, the candlelight illuminating the deep admiration, longing, and vulnerability etched clearly upon his face. "You're nervous," Ava whispered softly, surprised by the emotion in his eyes. He smiled gently, a faint blush tinting his cheeks, unusually vulnerable and open. "Only because you mean so much to me, Ava. I've never felt this way, so exposed, yet completely alive. It terrifies me." Ava's heart clenched deeply at his confession. She reached across the table, fingers gently touching his hand, her voice soft, sincere. "You're not alone, Liam. I'm scared too, but this feeling, I don't want to run away from it." His eyes filled with a warmth she'd never imagined, fingers tightening gently around hers. "Then let's promise each other, no running. We'll face everything together." "Together," Ava agreed softly, her voice catching on emotion. She felt an overwhelming sense of rightness with him, their connection strong, undeniable. Hours passed quickly, filled with gentle laughter, shared secrets, and quiet, intense glances that deepened the bond forming between them. Liam's eyes never left hers for long, tracing her every expression with tenderness and admiration, making Ava feel uniquely cherished and adored. As the night deepened, Liam rose slowly, extending a gentle hand toward her. "Dance with me." Ava hesitated only briefly, before sliding her fingers gently into his warm grasp, feeling a wave of electric anticipation ripple through her. Liam pulled her softly into his arms, their bodies effortlessly fitting together, hearts beating in sync beneath the starlit sky. His closeness was intoxicating, his arms gentle yet strong as they moved slowly, silently, wrapped in a perfect private world of their own making. Ava rested her head softly against his shoulder, breathing in his scent, warm, inviting, and comforting. "Liam," she whispered gently, voice shaking with emotion, "is this real?" He tilted her chin softly upward, his eyes deep, filled with raw honesty. "It's as real as you and me, Ava. Everything I feel, everything you make me feel, it's the truest thing I've ever known." His voice trembled slightly as his gaze dropped to her lips, desire and longing clear in his expression. Ava's pulse quickened wildly, heart pounding uncontrollably as Liam's lips slowly moved toward hers, hesitant yet deliberate.
Their lips met gently, tentatively at first, yet quickly deepened, igniting a passionate flame within them both. Ava melted into Liam's embrace, overwhelmed by the tenderness, warmth, and intensity pouring from his kiss. In that moment, nothing else existed. No doubts, no fears, only the powerful, undeniable connection between their hearts. When Liam finally broke away, breathless and flushed, he rested his forehead tenderly against hers, whispering softly, "You've changed everything, Ava. I don't want to imagine life without you." Tears welled gently in Ava's eyes, her heart overflowing with love and deep gratitude. "I feel the same, Liam. You've given me something I didn't even know I was missing." He smiled gently, eyes shimmering beautifully beneath the stars, brushing a soft kiss against her forehead. "This is only the beginning," he promised tenderly, as they stood wrapped securely in each other's arms, Beneath the endless night sky, Ava realized profoundly, deeply, that she'd found something rare, something precious, love, real, powerful, life-changing love. And as she held Liam tighter, heart beating as one with his, she silently vowed to fight for this love, no matter the obstacles awaiting them. For Liam Carter, she'd risk everything. Just as I began to believe in our fairy tale, reality came knocking, determined to tear us apart. The euphoria Ava felt in Liam's embrace lingered long after their magical evening ended. Each stolen glance, tender smile, and whispered words seemed to build an unbreakable connection between them. But happiness so profound rarely comes without a shadow, and soon Ava realized their newfound love would be tested by forces beyond her control. It was another bustling Friday night at Bellevue, the restaurant glittering with elegance. Ava served guests with her usual graceful warmth, though her mind wandered constantly back to Liam, replaying every sweet moment they'd shared. She caught herself smiling secretly at the mere memory of his touch. Suddenly, Ava sensed a shift. Heads turned discreetly. Whispers passed among the staff. Curious, Ava glanced toward the entrance. A woman had arrived, stunningly beautiful, wearing a shimmering emerald dress, her presence dominating the room effortlessly. Ava instantly felt an unsettling unease as the woman approached Liam confidently, embracing him in an overly familiar manner. "Who's that?" Ava quietly asked Emma, who stood frozen beside her, eyes wide with recognition. "That's Victoria Hayes," Emma whispered nervously, "Liam's ex-fiancée. She's from one of New York's richest families, wealthy, influential, and ruthless." Ava's heart sank painfully as she watched the pair. Victoria was strikingly beautiful, her confidence palpable, and it was obvious she knew Liam intimately. Ava's chest tightened uncomfortably, insecurities bubbling quickly to the surface. How could she possibly compete with someone like Victoria? As if sensing her gaze, Victoria turned sharply, her piercing eyes meeting Ava's briefly before narrowing suspiciously. Ava instantly felt the cold, calculating judgment in her stare, and instinctively turned away, anxiety twisting painfully inside her. Hours later, Ava slipped outside briefly to catch her breath, desperate for solitude to calm the storm in her heart. But just as she began to gather herself, a sharp voice shattered her momentary peace. "So you're the waitress who's captured Liam's attention?" Victoria sneered softly, her voice elegantly cold, dripping with disdain. Ava turned quickly, heart racing at the confrontation. Victoria stood facing her, intimidatingly beautiful and poised, her eyes glittering dangerously in the dim street light. "I don't think we've properly met," Ava tried calmly, extending a polite hand despite the tightness in her throat. "I'm Ava." Victoria ignored the gesture coldly, stepping closer, eyes narrowing with barely hidden contempt. "Oh, I know who you are. I also know your type, innocent, sweet, playing the role of damsel perfectly. But trust me, you won't last long in Liam's world." Ava struggled to hold Victoria's harsh stare, her heart pounding painfully. "I'm not playing a role," she whispered firmly, refusing to show weakness. "Liam and I are real." Victoria laughed softly, mockingly, stepping even closer, her voice lowering dangerously. "You're nothing but a distraction, a brief moment of excitement. Liam's world requires strength, status, sophistication. You." She looked Ava up and down dismissively, "clearly lack all three." Victoria's cruel words cut deeply, echoing Ava's deepest insecurities. Her eyes burned with unshed tears, but she refused to let them fall. She steadied her breath, determined to defend her love. "Liam sees something in me," Ava responded quietly but firmly, her voice shaking with controlled emotion. "Something genuine that he didn't find with you." Victoria's face twisted momentarily with anger,
before she quickly masked it with cold amusement. "We'll see, won't we?" She leaned closer, her voice dangerously soft. "Liam always returns to his world eventually. And you, dear, are not part of it." With one final icy stare, Victoria turned and left, leaving Ava trembling, heart aching, and filled with doubts. Victoria's words had struck precisely where Ava was most vulnerable. Her fears of inadequacy, the insecurities she'd struggled to suppress. Later, Ava sat quietly in the staff lounge, fighting tears, her heart heavy with turmoil. She felt foolish for believing she belonged in Liam's world. How could she measure up to someone like Victoria? Doubt clouded her mind, making her wonder if she was merely a temporary distraction for Liam after all. "Ava," Liam's familiar, comforting voice broke gently into her thoughts, his presence immediately soothing yet painful at once. She glanced up slowly, eyes shimmering with vulnerability. Liam immediately sensed her distress, moving swiftly to sit beside her, his eyes full of concern. "What happened? Please talk to me." She shook her head slightly, fighting the emotion swelling in her chest. "Maybe Victoria's right," she whispered painfully, unable to hide the hurt. "I don't belong in your world." Liam's expression darkened instantly, eyes blazing protectively. He reached out gently, capturing Ava's trembling hands firmly in his own, holding her gaze fiercely. "Victoria doesn't speak for me, Ava," Liam declared passionately, his voice filled with deep conviction. "She never knew who I really am, what I truly wanted, but you do." His eyes softened as he gently cupped Ava's face, thumbs tenderly brushing away tears that had begun to fall silently. "You're not just a part of my world, you're the best part," he whispered fiercely, his voice raw, deeply emotional. "You've shown me real love, Ava, pure, honest, unconditional love. That's something Victoria could never understand." Ava's heart twisted achingly, emotion overwhelming her at Liam's heartfelt words. She leaned softly into his comforting touch, feeling safe, loved, yet vulnerable. "But can it really last?" she whispered softly, voicing her deepest fear. "Can I really fit into your life without losing who I am?" Liam's eyes filled with determination, sincerity radiating strongly. "I don't want you to change for me, Ava. You belong exactly as you are, in my life, in my heart. Nothing Victoria or anyone else says will change that." Ava felt her resolve crumble as Liam gently pulled her into his embrace, enveloping her securely in his warmth, his strength soothing away doubts, insecurities, and fears. His heartbeat echoed gently against hers, steady, strong, reassuring. In his arms she felt whole again, safe from the harshness of their realities. "Promise me you'll trust what we have," Liam whispered softly against her hair, his voice thick with emotion. "Trust me, trust us." Ava nodded silently, heart overflowing with love, needing desperately to believe his promise. "I trust you," she whispered sincerely, burying herself deeper into his comforting embrace. Yet deep within, she knew their battle had just begun. Liam's world, wealthy, influential, ruthless, was waiting to test them, challenge them, and try to tear them apart. But as Liam gently tilted her face upward, tenderly brushing his lips against hers, Ava knew with stunning certainty that this love was worth every fight, every tear, every struggle they would face. For Liam Carter, she'd willingly brave every storm. "I had his heart, but did I belong in his world? Or was I destined to lose myself in loving him?" Weeks passed, deepening the intensity of Ava's love for Liam, yet her insecurities remained, persistent shadows whispering doubts into her heart. She couldn't ignore how different their worlds truly were, especially after Victoria's harsh confrontation. It haunted Ava, keeping her awake on sleepless nights, her heart tangled in painful uncertainty. One quiet afternoon, Ava stood by the large windows at Bellevue, lost in thought, her eyes fixed absently on the busy city streets below. She sighed deeply, unaware of Liam silently approaching from behind. He stopped, studying her thoughtfully, sensing the weight she carried. "Ava," he whispered gently, placing a tender hand on her shoulder, instantly feeling her body tense beneath his touch. She turned slowly, forcing a faint smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Is everything okay?" he asked softly, eyes searching hers with tender concern. "You've seemed distant lately." Ava hesitated, feeling her heart ache with the weight of hidden emotions. She longed desperately to share her fears with him, yet she was terrified that her honesty might drive him away. "It's nothing," she whispered softly, eyes lowered to hide her vulnerability. "Just tired, I guess." Liam gently tilted her chin upward, forcing her eyes to meet his. "Don't hide from me, Ava," he pleaded softly, his voice filled with emotion. "Tell me what's hurting you." His gentle plea cracked her resolve, tears suddenly welling in her eyes. "I'm scared, Liam," she admitted, voice trembling. "I'm terrified that I can't be what you need, that someday you'll realize I don't belong in your world." Liam's eyes flashed painfully with emotion, hurt evident on his face. "Ava, my world means nothing without you. You're exactly what I need." "But look around us," Ava whispered brokenly, gesturing softly to the opulent restaurant, the glittering luxury surrounding them. "I don't fit into this life, Liam. I don't want to become someone I'm not, pretending to be comfortable when I feel so out of place." Liam stepped closer, his presence enveloping her in warmth and gentle reassurance. "You never have to pretend for me, Ava," he whispered fiercely. "I fell in love with you precisely because you're real, because you're brave enough to show me who you truly are. Don't ever lose that." Her breath caught painfully in her chest, heart pounding fiercely at his words. "But what about your family, your friends? What about Victoria? They'll never accept me." Liam shook his head softly, voice firm yet gentle. "Their opinions don't matter, Ava. You matter. Us. We're stronger than their judgments." Yet Ava could still see the harsh realities of their differences clearly. "Maybe love isn't enough," she whispered achingly, voice barely audible. "Maybe I'm fooling myself." Liam's expression tightened, visibly hurt by her doubts. He gently cupped her face, his gaze intense, filled with quiet desperation. "Do you really believe that?" he whispered painfully. "Because loving you feels like the truest thing I've ever known. I can't imagine a life without you." Tears finally spilled down Ava's cheeks, as Liam gently wiped them away, his touch infinitely tender. Her heart broke seeing the pain reflected in his eyes, pain she'd caused him. "I'm sorry," she whispered softly, voice cracking with emotion. "I never meant to hurt you." His expression softened immediately, voice gentle, yet deeply emotional. "The only thing hurting me is seeing you doubt yourself, doubt us." Unable to respond, Ava leaned gently into Liam's chest, her tears soaking into the fabric of his shirt. His arms wrapped protectively around her, holding her tightly, as if he could shield her from every fear, every insecurity. They stood quietly together, wrapped in silent comfort, the sound of their synchronized heartbeats creating a gentle rhythm. In Liam's embrace, Ava felt safe, loved, but also more vulnerable than ever. She knew she needed clarity, space to discover who she truly was, without losing herself completely. "Liam," she finally whispered shakily, pulling back just enough to look into his eyes, her own filled with love and pain. "I need some time to find myself, to make sure that I'm not losing who I am." Liam's eyes widened slightly, his voice shaking with fear of losing her. "Are you saying you want space from us?" She reached out, gently touching his face, tears shimmering in her eyes. "Not from you," she whispered fiercely, reassuringly. "Never from you, but from this life, your world, so I can see clearly if this is truly where I belong." He hesitated, visibly torn, yet understanding dawning in his eyes. Gently he took her hand, pressing it tenderly, to his heart. Take whatever you need, Ava. But please know, wherever you go, my heart goes with you. Her chest tightened painfully with love at his words. I love you, Liam, she whispered softly, voice thick with emotion. He gently rested his forehead against hers, eyes closed, breathing deeply, as if memorizing her closeness. And I love you, Ava, so deeply, it terrifies me. But no matter what, I'll wait for you. That evening, Ava walked alone along the dimly lit streets, breathing in the crisp night air, as her thoughts churned endlessly. Her heart longed painfully for Liam, yet her mind wrestled with insecurities, fears, and Victoria's poisonous words, echoing relentlessly. She found herself standing at the doorstep of her modest apartment, gazing at its familiar simplicity. Her reality, her truth, it was far removed from Liam's glamorous life, but it was honest, genuine, her own. Inside, Ava curled up on her warm couch, heart aching, tears softly trailing down her cheeks as she relived every tender moment with Liam. Yet amidst her pain, clarity began to emerge slowly from her thoughts. She couldn't lose Liam, not now, not ever, but neither could she lose herself. Hours later, exhausted yet resolute, Ava stood near her window, gazing toward the city's lights glittering beneath the night sky. She whispered softly into the darkness, heart beating fiercely with determination. I'll find my place, Liam, in your world or mine, or somewhere we create together, because losing you is not an option. And deep within her soul, Ava knew her journey was far from over, but Liam Carter was her destination, the anchor of her heart, and no matter the storms ahead, she would find her way back into his arms, stronger than ever before. Distance showed me who I was, but only his love could show me where I truly belonged. Days turned into weeks, as Ava tried to rediscover herself. She had taken a step back from Liam's glamorous world, returning to the quiet simplicity of her everyday life. Yet each passing day without him felt hollow, like something essential had vanished, leaving her incomplete. Ava poured her energy into work, finding brief solace in routine. But Liam was never far from her mind. Each thought of him sent a powerful ache pulsing through her heart. Memories of their stolen kisses, whispered promises, and shared laughter haunted her, constantly reminding her of what she'd chosen to distance herself from. One evening after her shift ended, Ava walked slowly through the busy Manhattan streets, lost in thoughts of Liam. The city lights blurred gently through her tears, the familiar ache growing unbearable. She realized with stunning clarity that while space had given her perspective, it had also shown her one undeniable truth. She belonged with Liam, not apart from him. She missed him desperately, his gentle voice, the warmth of his touch, the way his presence made her feel alive, cherished, and truly herself. Suddenly, her phone vibrated gently, startling her. Her heart leaped instantly when she saw Liam's name flashing on the screen. Can you meet me tonight, please, Ava? Her pulse raced uncontrollably, breathing shaky as she quickly replied, yes. Where? Seconds later, Liam's response came through, an address Ava recognized immediately. It was the rooftop terrace, where they'd shared their magical night beneath the stars. When Ava arrived, the rooftop was bathed in soft golden lights, delicate candles flickering warmly against the night sky. Liam stood at its center, handsome yet vulnerable, his eyes immediately locking onto hers. As she approached, her heart swelled painfully with longing and love. Ava, Liam whispered hoarsely, emotion trembling in his voice, as he moved quickly toward her, enveloping her in his arms. I've missed you so much. She clung to him, heart beating fiercely against his chest, breathing in his familiar scent, feeling instantly whole once again. I've missed you too, she admitted softly, tears filling her eyes, gently pulling back just enough to gaze into her face. Liam's eyes searched hers intensely, raw vulnerability evident. Ava, these past weeks without you were the hardest of my life. I realized something crucial. I can face any challenge, survive any pain, but losing you is the one thing I can't bear. Her heart trembled violently at his confession, emotion flooding her eyes. I realized something too, Ava whispered, voice shaking. Life without you feels empty. I needed space to see clearly, but now I see that clarity means nothing without you. Liam's eyes filled with deep emotion, relief washing over his features, as he cupped her face gently. Then never leave me again. Whatever we face, we'll do it together. Ava nodded tearfully, voice filled with fierce conviction. Together, always. Liam smiled beautifully, eyes shimmering with love and gratitude. Taking her hand tenderly, he led her to the edge of the terrace, overlooking the breathtaking city skyline. Ava, I brought you here tonight because I need you to understand how serious I am about us, about you. Liam began earnestly, voice trembling softly with emotion. I don't care about our differences, about my world versus yours. You've shown me something I never thought possible, real, unconditional love. He paused briefly, pulling out a small, elegantly wrapped box from his jacket pocket. Ava's heart leaped, breath catching in her throat, as she stared in disbelief. Open it, Liam whispered softly, voice filled with tenderness, hands trembling slightly. Ava slowly opened the box to reveal a delicate, beautifully engraved pendant, shaped like a star. Tears blurred her vision, as she saw words inscribed on the back. My heart belongs wherever you are. Liam, she whispered breathlessly, tears spilling freely. Gently taking the pendant, Liam fastened it carefully around her neck, his fingertips lingering warmly against her skin, sending shivers racing down her spine. I wanted you to carry this reminder with you always, he whispered, voice thick with deep emotion, to remind you that my heart will always be yours, wherever you go. I'm yours, Ava, forever. Emotion overwhelmed Ava completely. She reached for him instinctively, fingers entwining in his hair, pulling him closer, until their lips met in a deep, passionate kiss. Every fear melted away in his embrace, replaced by certainty, clarity, and pure love. I love you, Liam Carter. Ava breathed softly against his lips, heart racing uncontrollably. You're my home, my heart, my everything. Liam's eyes glowed beautifully beneath the stars, gently pressing his forehead against hers, voice achingly sincere. And I love you, Ava Parker, with every part of my soul. You're the woman who taught me how to truly live. In that perfect, intimate moment beneath the endless stars, Ava finally understood where she belonged. It wasn't in Liam's glamorous world, or her own humble one. It was in the space they'd created together, the world formed by their shared love, trust, and vulnerability. Pulling back gently, Liam took Ava's hand softly, gazing deeply into her eyes with gentle determination. There's one more thing, he said tenderly, smiling softly. Tomorrow night, I want you by my side at the gala my family is hosting. I want everyone, my family, friends, the entire city, to know exactly who you are to me. Ava hesitated slightly, insecurity flickering briefly in her eyes, but seeing the warmth, love, and unwavering certainty in Liam's expression, she nodded resolutely, heart swelling with courage. I'll be there, proudly. Liam smiled brightly, his eyes glowing warmly, as he leaned in, gently brushing his lips against her forehead. Thank you for giving me another chance, Ava. I'll spend every day proving to you how much you're loved. Ava closed her eyes softly, heart swelling deeply with emotion. She'd found clarity in Liam's arms, discovered strength in his love, and finally embraced the truth her heart always knew. She belonged with him, always and forever. Together, they could face anything. I stood beside him in front of everyone, daring the world to judge our love, but it was his courage that made me truly fearless. The night of the gala arrived, filling Ava with nerves and anticipation. Her heart raced wildly as she stood before the mirror in her modest apartment, smoothing the silk fabric of a deep sapphire gown that Liam had lovingly chosen for her. Its softness felt foreign, yet beautiful against her skin, a gentle reminder of his touch. Taking a deep breath, Ava fingered the delicate star-shaped pendant around her neck. Liam's words echoing reassuringly within her heart. My heart belongs wherever you are. Those words gave her strength, and as she stepped outside to find Liam waiting for her, her fears dissolved in the warmth of his gaze. You look breathtaking, Liam murmured softly, eyes glowing with admiration as he took in her appearance. He gently lifted her hand to his lips, brushing a tender kiss against her knuckles, sending a delicious thrill rushing through her. So do you, Ava whispered shyly, taking in Liam's striking elegance, his confident presence effortlessly grounding her. With him by her side, she felt invincible. Together, they entered the gala, the grand ballroom glittering with opulence, crystal chandeliers, towering flower arrangements, and beautifully dressed guests, whose curious eyes immediately settled upon Liam and Ava. She felt dozens of questioning gazes upon her, yet Liam's steady hand holding hers reassured her instantly. You're not alone, Liam whispered soothingly, pulling her closer, voice filled with gentle encouragement. I'm right here, Ava, proudly yours. Ava drew strength from his words, lifting her chin gently as Liam led her through the elegant crowd. Whispers surrounded them, some admiring, others critical. Ava felt her pulse quicken nervously, until Liam's fingers gently squeezed hers, silently promising strength, protection, and love. As they approached Liam's family, her heart hammered uncontrollably. His parents, Richard and Eleanor Carter, stood poised, elegant, their refined presence radiating quiet power. Beside them stood Victoria, beautifully intimidating, eyes narrowing sharply at Ava's approach. Mother, father, Liam began firmly, his voice respectful yet confident. I'd like you to meet Ava Parker, the woman I love. Silence stretched uncomfortably. For a moment, eyes evaluating Ava sharply. Eleanor, refined yet reserved, studied Ava carefully, her gaze thoughtful yet unreadable. Richard's expression was serious but curious. Finally, Richard broke the silence, extending his hand politely, voice dignified yet welcoming. It's a pleasure, Miss Parker. You must be quite special to have captured my son's heart. Ava relaxed slightly, shaking his hand warmly. Thank you, Mr. Carter. Eleanor stepped forward gracefully, eyes quietly scrutinizing Ava before a gentle smile softened her face. Welcome, Ava. Liam has spoken highly of you. It takes courage to stand in a world different from your own. Ava's heart filled with gratitude, relief washing over her as she nodded respectfully. Loving Liam makes it worth it, she answered sincerely. Yet Victoria, standing elegantly poised, eyes flashing jealousy and disdain, interrupted coldly, her voice deceptively sweet yet venomous. Certainly courageous, though perhaps reckless. Liam, are you sure this arrangement is wise? Liam's eyes hardened protectively, stepping forward slightly to shield Ava from Victoria's cruelty. My heart isn't up for discussion, Victoria. Ava is not an arrangement. She's my choice, my only choice. Victoria's eyes flashed angrily, embarrassment briefly flickering across her face before she masked it quickly. Without another word, she excused herself, disappearing swiftly into the crowd. Liam's father nodded approvingly at his son's determination, voice softened by respect. Liam, you've made your feelings clear. You have our blessing. Welcome to the family, Ava. Ava's eyes brimmed with emotion, relief and gratitude, overwhelming her. She glanced at Liam, his gaze warm, reassuring, filled with deep pride. The evening continued beautifully, Ava relaxing into Liam's affectionate presence, feeling genuinely accepted for the first time in his world. Yet as the ballroom lights dimmed gently, Liam drew Ava toward the dance floor, pulling her close against him, their bodies instinctively fitting together. Are you happy? Liam asked gently, eyes searching hers deeply, fingers softly caressing her waist. More than I ever imagined, Ava whispered emotionally, feeling safe, cherished and loved deeply within his embrace. I promised I'd prove my love, Ava, Liam murmured tenderly, his breath brushing softly against her skin. And I'll keep proving it every single day of our lives. Ava smiled softly, heart swelling with fierce love, pressing closer into his warmth. I already believe you, Liam. He smiled deeply, leaning in, his lips gently brushing against hers, tender yet passionately intense, their kiss sealing their love openly in front of the world. Ava felt every fear disappear, replaced by certainty, clarity, and boundless joy. The music softened further, and Liam held Ava even closer, his voice quiet, deeply sincere. Marry me, Ava. She froze in his arms, heart skipping painfully at his sudden heartfelt proposal. Her breath catching, she stared deeply into Leon's eyes, seeing vulnerability, hope, and endless love reflected there. I don't want to wait any longer, Leon whispered earnestly, eyes fiercely emotional. You're my home, my heart, my future. I want every tomorrow to be with you. Tears blurred Ava's vision, heart racing fiercely as she realized with profound certainty that her answer had always been clear. Yes, she whispered breathlessly, joy bursting in her chest. Yes, Leon, I'll marry you. His eyes lit beautifully, joy radiating as he lifted her gently, spinning her around softly in his embrace, their laughter blending beautifully together. Guests smiled warmly, applauding softly, touched by the sincerity and intensity of their love. I love you endlessly, Ava Parker, Liam murmured passionately, voice shaking slightly with raw emotion, and I promise I'll spend forever showing you how much. Ava gently rested her head against Liam's chest, heart overflowing with happiness, secure in the arms of the man who'd shown her what true love could be. Forever sounds perfect, she whispered softly, eyes shimmering beautifully beneath the ballroom lights. Together, they stood united against any obstacle that awaited, confident in the strength of their bond, certain of their future. For Leon Carter and Ava Parker, forever had truly begun. We fought for our love, breaking down barriers one by one, but it was his courage that made me brave enough to truly embrace forever.
The days following Liam's proposal felt surreal, wrapped in the gentle glow of happiness Ava had always dreamed about. Yet despite their joy, Ava knew one more challenge remained, introducing Liam officially to her family, her quiet world, humble and vastly different from his glamorous one. The night she planned to bring Liam home, Ava stood anxiously in her small kitchen, the comforting aroma of freshly baked bread filling the air. Her younger brother Josh watched her carefully, sensing her nerves. "You're worried," Josh observed quietly, eyes gentle yet protective. "Think, Liam's ready for us." Ava sighed softly, heart fluttering nervously. "I know he loves me, but seeing him here, in our world, it scares me, Josh. What if it's too much for him?" Josh gently squeezed Ava's shoulder, reassuring her firmly. "If he's truly the man you've described, he'll see your life here and love you even more." A soft knock at the door made Ava's pulse quicken instantly. She hurried to open it, heart racing, as Liam appeared on her doorstep, dressed casually, yet still impossibly handsome. His gentle eyes sparkled warmly as he leaned in, softly brushing a kiss against her lips. "Hey," Liam whispered tenderly, eyes filled with quiet adoration. "Hi," Ava breathed softly, heart swelling with emotion, nervousness momentarily forgotten in the warmth of his presence. Inside, Liam greeted Josh warmly, shaking his hand firmly, instantly making her brother smile. Josh observed him thoughtfully, sensing immediately Liam's sincerity and depth. Dinner was simple yet intimate, conversation flowing naturally, as Liam effortlessly fit into their quiet, modest home. Ava watched him carefully, heart fluttering anxiously, but Liam's ease and genuine warmth quickly soothed her fears. Afterward, Ava led Liam outside into the small private backyard, beneath a sky glittering gently with stars. He stood quietly, looking up thoughtfully, before turning softly toward her, his gaze deeply emotional. "Your home feels like you," Liam whispered tenderly, pulling Ava gently into his arms. "Warm, honest, real. I see exactly why you love it here. Ava's heart skipped softly, voice trembling slightly. It doesn't feel too different for you. You're not uncomfortable. Liam shook his head softly, eyes glowing warmly beneath the soft moonlight. Ava, wherever you are, feels exactly right to me. Your world, my world, they're just places. You're my home. Emotion tightened Ava's chest painfully, tears shimmering softly in her eyes. She wrapped her arms gently around Liam's neck, resting her head softly against his chest, comforted deeply by the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. You know, Liam whispered emotionally against her hair, voice shaking gently, seeing you here, real, vulnerable, honest, it only makes me fall in love with you more. I promise you, Ava, nothing will ever change how deeply I feel. Her heart filled completely at his sincere words. Ava lifted her head slowly, gazing deeply into Liam's eyes, feeling all her insecurities finally fade. I believe you, she whispered shakily. You've shown me love I never imagined possible. He smiled tenderly, leaning closer, his voice low, intense. And I'll never stop showing you. Liam's lips met hers softly, passionately, their kiss deepening gently under the endless night sky. Ava surrendered fully, her entire being focused solely on the man who held her so tenderly, whose love had changed her life profoundly. They stood wrapped together, breathing softly, hearts synchronized, perfectly united beneath the stars, until Josh's gentle voice interrupted them softly from the doorway. I approve, you know, Josh said quietly, smiling warmly, his voice thick with sincerity. I've never seen Ava this happy. Ava smiled softly, pulling gently away, just enough to look gratefully at Josh. Liam nodded respectfully, his eyes filled with quiet gratitude. Thank you, Josh. I promise I'll always protect and cherish her. Josh's expression softened, eyes serious, yet gentle. I know you will. After Josh went back inside, Liam softly brushed Ava's hair from her face, his eyes filled with gentle sincerity. Your family, Ava, your life here, it's part of you. I want you to know, clearly and completely, I'm embracing everything you are. Ava's heart trembled emotionally, tears glistening softly. Thank you for loving me, exactly as I am. You're exactly what I need, Liam whispered tenderly, voice thick with emotion. Never doubt that. As their wedding drew near, Ava found herself seamlessly welcomed into Liam's world, as he had been welcomed into hers. Her sincerity, warmth, and authenticity quickly won the respect and affection of Liam's family and friends, who finally understood what Liam had seen in her from the very beginning. One quiet evening, Ava and Liam stood once more on their rooftop terrace, city lights shimmering gently around them. Ava's heart overflowed with happiness as Liam wrapped his arms securely around her, their shared warmth comforting and intimate. Are you ready to spend forever with me? Liam whispered softly, smiling gently, his eyes beautifully tender. Ava gazed deeply into Liam's eyes, heart pounding fiercely with certainty. I've never been more ready. Liam smiled deeply, pulling Ava gently against him, lips softly brushing her forehead, eyes closed in quiet reverence. You're everything I've ever wanted, Ava, and together we'll create a life that's uniquely ours, free from anyone's judgment or expectation. Forever, Ava whispered softly, fingers gently tracing Liam's face lovingly. He leaned down, lips meeting hers softly, passionately, sealing their promise beneath the starlit sky. In that perfect tender moment, Ava felt every remaining barrier disappear completely. Their worlds had merged beautifully, strengthened by trials, solidified by trust, and defined entirely by the unconditional love they shared. And as Liam gently held Ava in his arms, heart beating securely against hers, she knew with absolute certainty that their love had conquered every difference, every fear. Together, they were unstoppable. Together,
They were home. Just when I thought I couldn't love him more, he showed me a side of himself that left me breathless, utterly certain he was my forever. On a crisp autumn evening, Liam invited Ava out for a special dinner at Bellevue, the place where their love story had begun. Ava, dressed in a flowing lavender dress that gently kissed her ankles, her heart fluttering warmly at the thought of spending a quiet evening alone with him. When she arrived, Liam stood waiting at the restaurant's entrance, his gaze immediately softening with deep admiration and affection as she approached. "You look perfect," Liam whispered tenderly, eyes glowing warmly as he embraced her gently, breathing in her presence. "You always say that," Ava teased softly, cheeks flushed with warmth. "And it's always true," Liam murmured sincerely, pressing a soft kiss to her temple, filling her heart with tender affection. Inside, Ava stopped abruptly, breath catching as she saw the restaurant transformed, decorated with twinkling fairy lights, glowing candles, and delicate white roses. Yet what truly surprised her was the crowd gathered, friends, family, co-workers, all smiling warmly at Ava's astonishment. "Liam, what's happening?" Ava asked breathlessly, eyes wide with surprise and emotion. Liam gently took her hand, leading her tenderly to the center of the room, eyes filled with quiet sincerity. "I wanted tonight to be special, not only to celebrate our love, but also to show you how deeply you've inspired me." Ava stared at Liam, pulse racing anxiously, anticipation flooding her heart. Liam gently squeezed her hand before continuing warmly, addressing everyone. "From the moment Ava spilled coffee on me," Liam began, eyes glowing affectionately at Ava's blush, "she's shown me what real love, humility, and compassion mean. She's taught me that true happiness isn't found in wealth or power, but in kindness, sincerity, and helping others." He paused, eyes tenderly meeting Ava's, voice gentle yet deeply emotional. "To honor her beautiful heart, tonight I want to give Ava something meaningful, a gift I hope reflects the incredible woman she is." Liam gestured softly toward a large framed certificate, elegantly displayed. Ava stepped closer, eyes widening, tears welling deeply as she read the words, "The Ava Parker Foundation, supporting families and children in need." "Liam," Ava breathed softly, voice thick with emotion, heart swelling painfully. "What have you done?" He stepped closer, voice soft, deeply sincere. "You've spent your life caring for everyone else. Now, together, we'll help countless families like yours, families struggling to find hope. Your love changed my life, Ava. Now our love can change the lives of many." Overwhelmed, Ava's tears fell freely as Liam gently pulled her into his arms, holding her securely, voice a tender whisper only she could hear. "I want the world to know your heart the way I do. Beautiful, selfless, extraordinary." Liam murmured softly, emotion trembling deeply in his voice. "You deserve nothing less." Ava looked up tearfully into Liam's eyes, heart racing fiercely, with overwhelming gratitude, admiration, and profound love. "You've given me everything, Liam. This is more than I ever dreamed." He smiled tenderly, eyes shimmering warmly with tears. "It's nothing compared to what you've given me. You've shown me love that's real, fearless, unconditional. I'm forever yours, Ava." Around them, friends and family applauded warmly, deeply touched by Liam's heartfelt gesture, their eyes filled with genuine admiration. Liam gently pulled Ava closer, softly, wiping tears from her cheeks, eyes glowing beautifully. "Tonight," Liam whispered emotionally, voice shaking softly, "I wanted everyone to witness how deeply I love you, how completely you've changed me, and how honored I am to be yours." "Liam," Ava whispered, heart pounding fiercely, voice thick with emotion, "I love you more deeply every single day. You're my greatest gift." Gently, Liam tilted her face upward, eyes tenderly gazing into hers, his voice filled with deep sincerity. "Then spend forever with me, Ava. Let's build a life full of moments, exactly like this, moments of love, compassion, and hope. Forever, Ava whispered softly, fingers gently caressing Liam's face, warmth and love radiating between them. That sounds perfect. Their lips met softly, passionately, a kiss filled with promise, deep emotion, and unconditional love. Around them, family and friends cheered joyfully, moved by the genuine power and beauty of their love. Hours passed beautifully, laughter and warmth filling the room, as Liam and Ava celebrated their commitment, surrounded by the people they loved most. Yet as the evening softened gently toward midnight, Liam quietly guided Ava away, out onto the terrace beneath the endless night sky. "Are you happy, Ava?" Liam asked softly, holding her gently, eyes searching deeply, voice filled with quiet vulnerability. Ava smiled warmly, pressing closer into Liam's embrace, eyes shimmering tenderly. "Happier than I ever imagined possible. You're my everything, Liam." He exhaled softly, relieved, deeply moved. "And you're mine, Ava, my entire world. Thank you for choosing me, for loving me exactly as I am." She gently touched his face, heart swelling with deep, profound love. "Always, Liam, you're the easiest choice I've ever made." Liam smiled softly, pulling Ava tenderly against his chest, heart beating securely against hers, their connection profound, infinite. They stood silently beneath stars that had witnessed every step of their journey, from uncertainty and fears to this beautiful, perfect, forever. In that quiet, intimate moment, Ava understood clearly the depth and power of their love, a love built not on wealth or status, but sincerity, courage, and genuine connection. "Thank you for giving me forever," Liam whispered emotionally, softly kissing Ava's forehead. "Thank you," Ava breathed softly, closing her eyes, feeling completely secure, "for showing me what real love truly is." Wrapped tenderly in Liam's arms, Ava knew with absolute certainty they had found something rare, precious, unbreakable. Their love had conquered every difference, every fear, every obstacle, and now stood beautifully, perfectly, forever strong. Our journey began with an accidental spill, but it led me to a love more perfect than any fairy tale. And today, forever truly begins. The morning of Ava and Liam's wedding dawned soft and golden, sunlight gently streaming through lace curtains, caressing Ava's face warmly as she opened her eyes. Her heart instantly fluttered with excitement, nerves, and a deep sense of joyful disbelief. Today, she would marry Liam, the man whose love had changed her life, whose touch had redefined happiness, whose presence made her feel endlessly safe and cherished. As Ava prepared for the ceremony, surrounded by her closest friends and family, every moment felt surreal. Her heart overflowed, yet it wasn't until she stood quietly before the mirror, dressed in a stunning ivory gown, that reality truly set in. She was about to become Mrs. Liam Carter. "You're breathtaking," Emma whispered tearfully, smiling warmly at Ava's reflection. "You and Liam deserve every happiness in the world." Ava's heart swelled gratefully. "I still can't believe this is real." Emma hugged her gently, voice filled with sincere emotion. "You both fought for this love. Now go live your fairy tale." At the elegant garden venue, guests gathered eagerly, bathed in warm afternoon sunlight, filtering softly through blooming trees. Liam stood nervously at the altar, heart pounding fiercely as anticipation raced through his veins. The moment Ava appeared, his breath caught painfully. She looked ethereal, breathtakingly beautiful, yet entirely herself, real, vulnerable, completely perfect. Liam's heart swelled with pride, love, and awe as Ava moved gracefully toward him, their eyes locking deeply. "You're incredible." Liam breathed softly, tears shimmering warmly in his eyes as Ava finally stood beside him. She smiled tenderly, voice emotional. "So are you." As they exchanged vows, Liam's voice trembled softly, sincerity deeply evident. "Ava, you taught me humility, honesty, courage, but most importantly, you taught me how to love. I promise to spend every day making sure you never doubt how deeply you're loved. Ava's eyes filled beautifully with tears, her voice thick with emotion. Liam, you've shown me a love I never imagined existed, a love that made me brave, complete, truly alive. I promise to stand by your side through every joy and every challenge, because you're my heart, my home, my forever. Liam gently took her hand, eyes holding hers warmly, voice shaking slightly with profound sincerity. Forever begins today. With heartfelt words exchanged, Liam tenderly slipped a delicate ring onto Ava's finger, their shared smiles radiating happiness, hope, and infinite love. You may kiss your bride, the officiant warmly announced. Liam gently cupped Ava's face, gazing deeply into her eyes, emotion shimmering beautifully. "I'll love you endlessly," he whispered fiercely, before capturing her lips in a tender, passionate kiss, one filled with promise, celebration, and pure joy. Cheers erupted warmly around them, their friends and family smiling tearfully, celebrating the depth and sincerity of their love. Later that evening, Ava and Liam stood quietly beneath a canopy of softly glowing lights, wrapped intimately in each other's arms, gently swaying to their favorite song. The world faded around them, their connection profound, unbreakable. "Do you remember?" Liam whispered softly, eyes glowing tenderly. "The first night we danced together under the stars. It was the moment I knew you were my forever." Ava smiled warmly, resting her head softly against Liam's chest, heart beating beautifully in sync with his. That night changed everything. He pulled her gently closer, voice low, tender, deeply sincere. "You changed everything, Ava. You made me realize life means nothing without love, without you." Ava lifted her gaze, eyes shimmering warmly, voice shaking slightly with deep emotion. "Thank you, Liam, for seeing me, for loving me exactly as I am." He brushed a gentle kiss against her forehead, voice thick with sincere emotion. "You're everything to me, Ava, and I promise to spend forever loving, honoring, and protecting you." As they danced softly beneath endless stars, wrapped securely in each other's embrace, Ava realized their story had truly come full circle. They'd overcome misunderstandings, insecurities, differences, and discovered love more powerful than any obstacle. Their worlds had merged seamlessly, strengthened beautifully by trust, compassion, and genuine, unconditional love. "I love you, Liam Carter," Ava whispered softly, voice gently trembling, heart completely overflowing. "Thank you for giving me the life I always dreamed of." He smiled deeply, voice emotional, eyes beautifully tender. "I love you more, Ava Carter. Thank you for giving me a love worth fighting for." As the evening faded gently into night, Liam softly guided Ava away from their guests, leading her to a secluded spot overlooking the moonlit city. They stood quietly, arms wrapped tenderly around each other, hearts united, perfect peace surrounding them. "This," Liam whispered softly, voice deeply content, eyes warmly gazing at Ava, "is the happiest moment of my life." Ava smiled softly, breathing deeply, feeling Liam's heartbeat gently against hers, voice filled with genuine love. "Mine too." Together they looked out over the city that had witnessed their love unfold, a city filled with memories of the struggles they'd faced, the strength they'd found, and the happiness they'd discovered together. But as Liam gently tilted Ava's chin upward, his lips softly capturing hers in a deeply passionate, tender kiss, Ava realized their story was only beginning. "I promise you, Ava," Liam whispered softly against her lips, voice thick with sincere emotion. "This is just the start. Our best moments are still ahead." She smiled warmly, pulling him gently closer, whispering softly, yet with absolute certainty, "I know, because with you, every tomorrow will always be better than yesterday." and wrapped securely in Liam's arms beneath the endless stars, Ava knew they had truly found their happily ever after, a love endlessly deep, forever true, perfectly real. Their journey had begun with a simple misunderstanding, but it had ended beautifully, perfectly, with a love destined to last a lifetime.